Hello everyone. So we're here to check whether the PSU or the power supply that is being attached to this backup computer is still working. So how are we going to check whether the power supply is still working or not? So let's try to check it now. Ito yung naka-backup kong computer. Actually, it is working. Ginagamit ko to sa klase ko. So to check whether this PSU is still working, you have to unplug the 24 pins, this one. So, dito po yan naka-attach. So, meron tayong tinatawag kadalasan sa computer. We have the computer terms male and female. So, this is a female, then this one is the male one. So, the tendency is you'll be needing a paper clip. So, this one. Ito lang po. So, paper clip po ito, diniretso ko lang po siya, straight ko lang po. Ayan. So, to check whether the power supply or the PSU is still working or not. So, the tendency, you just have to place inside the hole dito sa color gray. Make sure na nakatapat siya sa gray, dito sa hole ng gray at hindi sa violet. Tapos sa kabilang banda, doon naman po siya sa green. Sa green 1. Ayan. Dito siya sa green. So, check natin kung paano siya magkabit. So, ayan. Try natin siyang ikabit. So, what you need to do is to place the first one to color gray. So, tapat mo lang po siya doon sa hole. Make sure na nakatapat siya doon. Tapos, sa kabila naman, yung color green. Ayan. Sa color green. Yan. Make sure na nakapasok siya ng mabuti. Tapos, ingatan natin na hindi pumasok siya sa ibang butas. Kasi that's the time na nagkakaroon siya ng short or nagsha-short po siya. Okay? So, next, ang gawin na natin ngayon is to test whether the PSU is really working or not. So, kanina, kung makikita niyo po, ayan. So, kailangan lang nating i-plug. So, pinlug ko na po siya. Then, switch on. So, lagi po nating tatandaan na bago po tayo mag-work, dapat po make sure na naka-unplug at naka-turn off po lahat para maiwasan po natin yung ground na tinatawag. So, parang hindi po tayo mag-grounds kasi mahirap nang switch on lang natin. Make sure na naka-plug in. So, bago natin gawin, kanina nakita nyo bago ko ilagay po yan. Ayan. So, gray and green. Okay? Then, let's turn it on. See? Maririnig nyo naman po. Then, let's check if it is working. Ayan. So, mararamdaman nyo naman po may hangin siya. There, see? The power supply is really working. So, that's the proper way on how are you going to check whether your PSU or power supply is working or not. So, let's say for example, hindi nyo mabuksan si computer. There is no power. You have to check first the power supply if it is working or not. So, that is the proper way on how are you going to check whether the power supply is really working or not. So, then turn it off. Unplug. So, always maintain the OHS before you remove the paper clip. So, okay. Then, tsaka lang po natin siya ibalik. Okay. So, that is a proper way on how are you going to check whether your PSU or the power supply is still working or not. So, if there is no power, once you turn on the computer, check the power supply or check all the cables first. If it has been attached tightly, baka naman po kasi maluwag lang. Now, if in case sa tingin nyo masikip naman siya and yet there is no power, the next thing that you need to do now is to check whether the power supply is working. So, that is a proper way on how are you going to check the power supply.